Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. As always, I'm going to start with my schedule. This weekend and next weekend, I'm at the Houston Improv. So that's April 10th. If you're watching this on Thursday when the podcast premiered, you're already at my show. Or you're not at my show and you're like, oh, Gary's in town. So yeah, April 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, I'm at the Improv. And then April 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th, I'm at the Improv in Houston. Obviously, April 20th is Easter. There will be no show on Easter. And then April 25th, I'm at the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater in Peekskill, New York. April 26th, I'm at the Parks Casino, PARX, in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. May 2nd through the 4th, I'm at the Mic Drop Comedy Club for the first time ever, San Diego, California. Then May 9th, 10th, and 11th, I'm at Tommy T's in Pleasanton, California. May 16th, 17th, and 18th, I'm in San Antonio, Texas, at the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club. And let's just end May out. May 23rd, 24th, 25th, I'm in Dallas, Texas, at the Addison Improv. May 30th, 31st, and June 1st, I'm in Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. And June 5th, I'm at the Bama Theater in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And then July 12th, I'm in Vegas at the Palms, at the Pearl Theater inside the Palms. So that's my schedule. So unless you've been living under a rock for the last week, you do a podcast, you don't know where to start. And I thought it was going to be like a feel-good podcast. But in the wake of the stabbing in Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, a very nice suburb of Dallas, let's put that out there. These two high school kids, one kid's name is Austin Metcalf, and the other kid's name is Carmelo Anthony. And Austin Metcalf is a white kid. Carmelo Anthony is a black kid, both under the age of 18, at a track meet. I think you guys all know the story. Austin and his twin brother allegedly went inside their high school's tent. Carmelo Anthony was sitting there, and I don't think they asked him to move. Pretty sure they told him to move. And testosterone, teenage boys, egos get in the way, and words were exchanged. Whether there were any hands was put on anybody, that hasn't come out yet. Most people have said Austin grabbed Carmelo's backpack and Carmelo's like, touch me and see what happens. Carmelo had a knife, stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart, killed Austin Metcalf. And now I knew when it happened. I said, I always refrain from jumping to conclusions till all the facts come out. I'm not sure all the facts will ever come out in this case because everything's so diluted at this point. It's disgusting how people will take the death of a teenage boy and the life of another teenage boy that basically is ruined over an impulsive, ego-driven confrontation on both sides. If Austin was the aggressor, Metcalf, and was being a bully, still does not give anyone the right to stab him in the heart. Stab him, period. I think the biggest thing here is, why did Carmelo Anthony feel the need to bring a knife to the track meet? And why was he so quick to be prepared to use it? Do these guys have history together? I've heard they might have known each other in the past. It's just sad all the way around. And it's so odd that this happens. And literally the day before it happened, the algorithms and how they work, I got a video on this guy was talking about restraint. How you got to have restraint in certain situations. And this is a perfect example of that. I'm the dad of 2 new twins. So this story kind of resonated on both sides. My twins are mixed, so society's going to see him as black. And then you had this white kid who was a twin that died. So on both sides, I'm just like, I'm putting myself in both parents' shoes. And from all intents and purposes, Carmelo Anthony came from a good home, a 2-parent home. I'm not sure about Austin's home life. I mean, his mom and dad did speak. They seemed like they were decent enough people. But I hate the people that There's certain people on the internet, and I don't want to give them any shine, so I'm not going to say, on both sides, they jump to basically feeding their fan base. I mean, you got the people that are always pro-black, that are always going to be like, he was bullied, he was defending himself, and I'm like, how do you know? We don't know the whole story. How can you just get out there and type this stuff and put all this inflammatory shit out there and you don't know? On the other side of it, I can't stand the people that are just showing the picture of Carmelo with a gun, whether it's real or not, I don't know. He's with his boys, and some are white. That's why it's not just a black and white thing. And then they'll post Austin with his school picture or in his football uniform. By all intents and purposes, everything I've read about both kids, where they weren't terrible human beings, they weren't just, I don't know. I don't think they were threats to society or menaces to the school. It just seemed like, to me, I find it hard that this is the first time they've ever met. That's my thing. I just find that hard to believe. And two things can be true at the same time. Austin Metcalf could have been a bully. He could have approached Carmelo Anthony in an aggressive manner and, just exhibited bully behavior. Him and his brother. And another thing can be true too. Still didn't deserve to die over that. You know how many times we see bullies that later on in life come back and was like, man, why was I acting like that? I was an idiot. I've seen it too many times. So this is it's just tragic. And those people that are just inflaming this are pieces of shit. Just pieces of shit. I never want these type of people at my show. I'm talking about on both sides. I'm talking about the people that are trying to just drag Carmelo Anthony, his family, the type of kid he is, because we don't know at this point. And same thing to people that are like, Austin Metcalf is a known bully. He deserved this. No, he didn't. He did not deserve to get stabbed in the heart. So, and the bad part about it is, when it goes to trial, they're not going to, the jury isn't going to care about any of that. They're not going to, I don't think Carmelo Anthony thought his life was in danger. It's like when I was in the police academy, there was when I used to be a cop in the Navy, we had this thing, it was an escalation of force. And it was those steps before you whip out your baton, before you whip out pepper spray, before you whip out your gun. There's certain steps you take, it's escalation of force. You can't just automatically pull out your gun. There has to be a reason. You got to feel like your life is in danger when you reach for the gun. This is the same thing. This is like an escalation of force. Like, you can't just pull out a knife. You just can't. the long-term effects is going to resonate. It's going to hurt Carmelo Anthony's brother and sisters and his mom, dad, his grandparents, his cousins, his aunts and uncles, and same thing on the other side. Austin Metcalf's family. It's like that's gonna be hard to come back from. So I feel for both families. Whew. I couldn't even imagine. Can you imagine being? We always think about Austin Metcalf's parents. They lost their son senselessly, and that sucks. And then you go to the other side, you got Carmelo Anthony's family, who, all intents and purposes, have lost their son. And they might have did everything right. They might have, we always hear single parent homes. You got, when the dad's not in the house, the chances of the son joining a gang, getting to prison, the percentages just go higher and higher and higher. And this wasn't the case. His dad was in the house. For all intents and purposes, from what I've read, Carmelo Anthony came from a good home, had good grades, was a good student, was looking forward to going to college. You go to his Twitter page, it's typical teenage stuff. He's hyping up his friends that are signing off, getting letters for football and stuff like that. Football is definitely a sport. So I just can't stand grown adults. You have no sympathy for the other side? I'm just like, what kind of person are you? Because here's the thing. Those people that on either side that are completely vilifying Carmelo Anthony or completely vilifying Austin Metcalf, most of the time they're just doing it for clicks and likes, and I bet you they're monetized. So they know what they're doing. And they're using this platform, whatever it is, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, to put money in their pockets at the expense of Carmelo or Austin. And that's what's sad. If I get online and sometimes you read people that have like just really good insight, really good way to think about things. And as soon as I hear this black kid, this black thug or this white thug, and as soon as they bring race immediately into it, your point is lost to me. You know what I mean? So they always try to think of like Matthew McConaughey and The Time to Kill at the end of the movie when he gave his closing argument, and then he goes, now, what if she was white? When he was talking about the little black girl that got raped by the two guys and stuff. And this also makes you think that, what if the racism was reversed? How would people react? What if they were both black or both white? That's a sad part about this. It's just tragic. Both sides. I feel for both sides. Because you're just 17 years old. It's just like, God. This wasn't like he was. I felt like he's not like a threat to society, Carmelo Anthony. I don't feel like Austin Metcalf was a threat to society either, because people are like portraying him like he's some big bully and everything. So I just think you got teenage boys, egos involved, and the thing is show restraint. You got to show restraint. In the end, if Austin Metcalf and his brothers like, man, you got to move out of our tent. What if he would have just moved? Would have got made fun of a little bit? You ain't got to see these guys in another year. You're going to be out of high school. You ain't even at their high school. After this track meet, you ain't got to see them again if you don't want to. At the same time, if you are going to bully people, let this be a warning to bullies out there. It's not worth it. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what's going through somebody's mind. So I'm telling you, I've always taught my kids, I'm going to keep teaching them, my boys too, walk away. Walk away from fights, man. I don't care who started. I don't care what they say about you. I don't care what they say about me. I know the big thing is, they call my mama something. You know who your mama is. You know who your dad is. care what they think. They don't know us. So I'm always going to tell my kids, walk away. Walk away. I used to tell my boys, my oldest is like, you win a fight, your fist hurts. You lose a fight, your face hurts. Man, it's just let this be a lesson. To all the high school kids out there, junior high kids, somebody gets on your nerves, just ignore them, walk away. They always say, what sticks and stones can break my words, the words can never hurt me. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing you can say that's going to incite me like that. I'm so past it, and I'm going to teach my boys that too. Say what you want. I don't care. I'm going to tell my boys, always walk away. Always walk away from a fight. Every single time. This just definitely validated my thought. If that was my son sitting there, I would tell him, Dad, this guy was bullying me, man, telling me to leave, and he got smart and he threatened to beat me up. I'm like, did you walk away? All right, where's he at now? All right, I don't know that dude. Let's go out to eat. Let's enjoy our dinner. Okay. I don't know. That's all I was going to tell my boys. Just walk away, man. This shit is not worth it at all. And this just validated it right here. So to all those that are on Carmelo Anthony's side, just really think about what Austin Metcalf's family is going through. And those of you that are on Austin Metcalf's side, please, before you start posting inflammatory stuff, think about what Carmelo Anthony's family is going through also. Because all this was about was ego and lack of restraint. That's all this was. I don't care if he's in somebody else's tent. And if he was in somebody else's tent, was he trying to entice somebody? Was he waiting for somebody to say something? We just don't know. It's teenage shit. We do dumb stuff as teenagers. You think about when you were a teenager, all the dumb shit you did as a kid, all the fights you got, the fights you used to see in the hallway. And the funny part is when you get older, you kind of laugh about it. You kind of look back like, what? We got in a fight over who? Kelly? Over you took my donut? You think about all this stupid stuff. You got in fights over in high school and you're like, oh my God, we were idiots. Elementary school fighting at recess, all the other stuff. So it's just not worth it, man. On another note, I was watching Club Shay Shay, as I almost do every week. And I love it when Shannon Sharp has comedians on. So he had Damon Wayans on, senior. And I've always heard this about the Wayans family. I've done Little Man, so I've worked firsthand with Keenan, Sean, and Marlon. And I got to see how tight-knit their family is. And one thing that always resonated with me with the Wayans is they see each other, they kiss each other on the lips real quick. It's not awkward. You don't get the feeling there's incest going on. I don't want that to be the narrative, but it's a quick peck. And I was like, because you don't see it from men a lot. And I always thought that struck me, But Damon told a couple stories. And I've always heard this about the Wayans. I heard Keenan is the godfather. Keenan is the reason that all this happened. The Wayans empire came about because of Keenan. He was the first one to take the jump to go to LA, got in with the right people. And I love hearing the stories of how him, Keenan, and then Damon came after Keenan and Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno and all these other people used to go to Canners. I know exactly where the Canners are talking about in LA. We used to sit there late at night and write. They'd be sharing fries because they had no money. God, I miss those days, man. I was doing that in San Diego with somebody like Bobby Lee, Darren Carter, Nick Cannon to a lesser extent. But still, those are guys that I would be at restaurants at late at night going over jokes at a Denny's or an IHOP in San Diego when I first started. So when he said that, I was like, man, I remember them days because you just had so much hope and excitement as a stand-up. And but he told a story about Katt Williams, and he said, Katt was just a ball of energy. And one thing Damon said he never did, he never told comedians what they could and couldn't say before they went up before him. He was like, if you got a joke, I just got to be funnier. I got to be better. And then he said, Katt opened for him in Vegas. And after that, he said, I got to put Katt on My Wife and Kids, which if you watch that sitcom, My Wife and Kids, it was good. When Katt was on it, that could have been my favorite character Katt's ever played in a movie or TV show. He was just so freaking funny. Hey, this podcast is brought to you by Blue Chew. Now listen, as guys, when it's time for that action, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that action, we want to make sure we're ready. We don't want nothing coming in the way. We don't want to say, I didn't get enough sleep. I ate the wrong food. Something's going on. We don't want no excuses. When you're ready for that action, you want that action. And we know what that action is. And that's why Blue Chew's here. That's why I'm not only just this isn't just an ad. I'm an advocate for Blue Chew, baby. At my age, I'm taking all the help I can get, and Blue Chew's giving me some help to make sure my partner is satisfied, baby. So listen, this is a call to action. I want to make everyone's life easier, and I want to make your life easier by getting harder. And how do you get harder? You discover your options at BlueChew.com. We got a special deal right now for the listeners. If you try the first month of Blue Chew free, you get to try it for free. Not if you try. You're going to try this first month for free. All you got to do is visit BlueChew.com, and you got all the details and important safety information on there. And once again, as always, thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this podcast and doing what you do for men all across this country. BlueChew.com, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This is the face you make once you bite into a Blue Chew. You saw it. There's a dance battle scene. Look it up on YouTube where Damon and Katt are dance battling. Get out. It's too funny. And you can tell Damon's almost breaking when Katt's doing his dance moves and stuff. But he told the story of how he was in Vegas. Katt opened up for him, and that's where he's sitting. Katt was jumping, doing cartwheels and stuff. And I'm thinking, there's so many times I'll hear a story on a podcast or read a story in a book, and I'm like, I was there. I was there when that story happened. So the Damon story. I was in Vegas with my ex-wife. We were staying at the Hilton. That's where Damon and Katt was performing. I'm sitting there playing blackjack or craps. I see Katt walking by the Hilton, walking in the casino somewhere. I go, Katt, what's up? And we're both like, God, late 20s, early 30s. And no, when neither of us said, we're doing all right, but we hadn't hit yet, right? And he comes over, start BSing. I just remember Katt had a tank top on. I think it was a Laker jersey and like 4 chains. Whether they were real or not, I don't know at that time. Katt wasn't balling like he is now, and he had a bodyguard with him. Katt was the only guy I know that was an opening act and had a bodyguard. So I see Katt. He's like, yo, what's up, Gary? You want to come to the show tonight? I'm opening up for Damon. And I was like, oh, man, I think we had dinner plans. We was meeting some friends. And I said, well, hit me up, hit me up after the show. And then we just didn't connect after the show. Fast forward the next day. I'm on a JetBlue flight from Vegas to LA. Who gets on the flight? Katt. Now, at this time, JetBlue did not have first class. And Katt got on with all them chains on, a different jersey, and that bodyguard. I was thinking, Katt is rolling like he's anticipating he's about to come into some money. He's anticipating about to be a headliner. He's the only opening act I've ever seen with a bodyguard and chains. And I was just like, when Damon told that story, I was like, oh shit, I was there. I was there for that story. So it's funny, you just think about those things and you're hearing it like, oh, I remember that. Because if you ask Damon, they was at the Hilton. That's where the show was. The old Hilton where Elvis used to perform and stuff. It's like right off the strip. That's where the show was. And then it reminded me of like, Will Packer sends me his book. I'm reading the first couple pages and he's telling the story of how they were getting ready to shoot Ride Along. Oh, no. Sorry. They were shooting Ride Along and Kevin booked his special at Madison Square Garden in the middle of production. And Kev was like, yo, Saturday, I'm filming my special, but Sunday was still a work day. So what I remember is I get the set that I haven't recorded yet. I'm getting ready to record the next day. I get there and I'm going through prep, like wardrobe and everything. And then Will had told me, yo, we all headed to New York. We're going to watch Kevin's special. We'll be back in the morning. He was like, I hope. And Will tells a story how Kev had the party. Carmelo Anthony has some party for Kevin after the show. All of a sudden bottles are popping. All of a sudden it's 3 a.m. And Will had to ask Carmelo, we got to get out of here. We got to be on set at like 8. New York to Atlanta. So they got Kevin out of there. They got on a private jet. They landed and came straight to set. And what I remember, what I remember about that day was I got there in the morning and everyone was telling me, yo, it was a late night last night. Everybody just landed. So Kev was in his trailer asleep. I'm wide awake. I had a good night's sleep. And I just remember Will and Tim Story, the director, comes to my trailer and they're just kind of hanging out, recapping the night before. They're like, man, thank God we had a private. We had to drag Kevin out of there. We don't need him for a couple hours. We're going to let him rest. But yeah, we're going to be we're going to be struggling today on set. And then Will talks about it in his book. And I'm like, I remember that day. I was there for that, So it's just funny, like, people tell these stories, and you're like, I was a part of that in a roundabout way, or I was there to, connect the dots in my own brain, and for you guys too. So I was just like, it's kind of cool. I guess it's kind of cool, right? But I did like what Damon said, how he never told an opener not to tell jokes. And then I thought somebody said that was very profound, because in my line of work, joke stealing is a big thing. It's huge. And we all know who the joke thieves are, or the alleged joke thieves. He told a story about Robin Williams, which I've always heard Robin Williams was a joke thief. I've always heard that. But he said he told a Joe Rogan joke one time on stage. And the way he explained it was, I had this long animal joke. So it was all the different animals, how they act and stuff. And Joe Rogan at the time had like a lion joke. And David said he was on stage. He was doing his normal animal jokes. And at the end, he did the lion. And he goes, whoa. That got a bigger laugh than what I'm used to. And then he was like, wait a minute. That's not my joke. And then he was like, he realized it. Oh, shit. And he said, the offense is not stealing somebody's joke and just staying on stage. The offense is like doing it, realizing you did it, realizing it's not your joke, and you continue to do it. And I was like, it nailed it perfectly, because Damon said the same thing. I don't watch a lot of stand-up, and I do that so I don't do what Damon did, because I've seen it too many times. I've seen too many times comics have similar mannerisms, out and out take jokes. And then I think you tell a joke long enough, you really start to think it's yours. And you convince yourself, oh, I wrote this. This is my joke. And it's not. So when he said that, I said, yeah, that's why I don't watch a lot of stand-up at all. Because if you watch Richard Pryor now, right? You'll watch his act and be like, I've kind of heard that stuff before. No, you heard it after. Richard was the first one to tell a joke like that, but there were so many people after to kind of do, a roundabout way the same joke as Richard. But I'm like, yeah, that's where you heard it. Richard did it first. You got to realize, oh, he did that joke in the 70s. That's different. So yeah, it was just, if you haven't seen it, I'd watch it. He's so informative, man. And I've always heard Damon's the funniest one of the Wayans on stand-up. I've always heard that about him. They go, Damon was like, he was a brilliant one when it comes to stand-up. So it's a good interview. You should watch it. It's pretty insightful. And as a fan of comedians, and just hearing road stories and stuff like that, I love hearing those comedic stories. And I love how he said he never tells his openers what to say, what not to say. He's like, go do you, and I'm going to come up. Because, even when I'm on the road on some of these ensemble shows, I make sure I do not listen to the person going up before me. I turn the volume down in the dressing room, or I just put something on my phone so I can't hear. Because you can sometimes hear crowd reactions. You can psych yourself out. I don't care what he's talking about. When I go up there, I'm just going to do me, and we'll see what happens. If we touch on the same subject, so be it. But I'm just going to be me. And then, I don't know if it's Damon interview or nothing, but they mentioned, have you ever been starstruck? I don't know if it's Damon interview or not. Somebody mentioned somewhere this week, have you ever been starstruck by anybody? And I'm thinking, there's been a couple times in my life where I was starstruck. Not since I've been in the entertainment business, no. But before. So I think the first time I was ever like starstruck, Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I was in the Navy, and this is when they had good vibrations, and he had to be playing at Kings Island in Cincinnati. There was I think it was called Riverbend. It was a big outdoor venue in Cincinnati at this amusement park called Kings Island. And this is before 9/11, so you could just walk to the gate. I remember my buddy Paul, I was home on leave, or I came home for whatever, and I was getting ready to fly back to DC. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, the flight I'm about to get on, coming down the jet bridge, is like 4 big-ass black dudes. And I was like, what the hell are they? Right in the middle, Marky Mark. And I just couldn't believe how short he was. I was like, yo. And then I just remember I literally went like, I did like that. I looked and I go, oh, Marky Mark. It just kind of came out, oh, Marky Mark. And he looked over, just gave me a head nod. What's up, man? And he just walked away. I just remember he was very short. I remember he had big ass calves. That's all I remember. And then he had to be that summer. So that must have been early 90s. And it was a summertime, I remember, because he had shorts on and I had shorts on. So he had to be at Kings Island Riverbend. I was kind of starstruck. I was like, I just saw Marky Mark and made eye contact, and he acknowledged me. I was so excited. And then I think the other time was Alonzo Mourning when he played at Georgetown, or he might have just been his first year with the Hornets. I just remember it was late at night, clubs was kind of letting out. I was a little tipsy, and Alonzo got out of a car near Georgetown and the campus and just kept getting bigger. And I was like, who the hell? And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, Lonzo. He just gave me the whole, just gave me a big yell, Lonzo. Why? I don't know. It's funny because when you grow up in a small town in Ohio, we don't see anybody. We don't see no celebs. We had like 4 or 5 of the Bengals come for like a track and field day against the students one day, but it wasn't any superstars. It was like 2 offensive linemen, a safety, and they were all like backups. And they came on like a Bengals Doritos truck to our high school, or some van. That's what it was. It was a van. It was like Bengals and some kind of chip was on it. I think it was Doritos. I just remember, dang, they had a van? Because, you don't know, you're small town Ohio, you think the ball players are coming in on a private jet to the high school or some super stretch limo or something like that. No, it was like a Doritos Bengals van. They pulled up, these 5 big dudes got out, and that was it. They had like a sit-up contest, a pull-up contest. It was just nothing. So I wasn't really starstruck then. And then, I'm trying to think. So you go up in a small town in Ohio, you don't see anybody. And then I get to DC and in the Navy. That's when I saw this point guard for Georgetown called Bobby Winston. at a club called the Dome. And I went with him, like, you Bobby Winston? And you got to look him up. He was Georgetown's guard. And he's like, yeah, he was like excited I knew who he was. I was like, yeah, man, big fan of Georgetown. I just kept it moving. That was my MO. I never was a guy like, let me get an autograph. We didn't have cell phones back then, so there was no pics. It was just, I meet him, told him, yeah, big fan, kept it moving. But there was Summer Jam came to DC, and that was like, there's like Keith Sweat, SWV, Jade, that early 90s R&B concert. And I took this girl, and I just remember I walked into the venue, and I saw Riddick Bowe and his manager, Rock Newman. And this was like Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield days. And I was like, oh, I remember I was a little tipsy. We were drinking in the car. And I was like, what's up, Rock? He was like, how you doing, man? I was like, that was Riddick Bowe and Rock. And then, so I was high. I was really high up. My tickets were cheap. But I just remember Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning again walked in. So I didn't really get to see him. It was like far away. But I saw the crowd moving with him. This one, like Ewing was on the Knicks. And they were battling the Jordan Bulls all the time. And then Zoe was just got in the league against the Hornets, on the Hornets. So I remember they was moving. They brought their girls. They was holding hands. And I remember saw Zoe twice, Ewing, but up close, probably the three was Mark Wahlberg, Lonzo Mourning, Riddick Bowe, and Rock Newman. Rock Newman was just as big as Riddick Bowe back then, his manager. So those three were the only three I get to be like, I stopped. I was like, oh my God, that's Marky Mark. Oh, the big guys must be the Funky Bunch. So, yeah. So, look, I want to play this funny clip for you guys to close this one out. So, me, my girl, and her mom, we all sat in a row, right? And as parents, let me ask you guys this as parents. We all sat in a row, and we got it on video, and we all had the boys run towards us, right? And both boys ran to me first. It's like a competition. Like we just sit there and they see who they're going to go to first. Both boys ran to me first. And then I got eliminated from both boys. And they both ran to their grandma second. And then they went to their mom last. And I just wonder, like, do you think it's because I'm in and out of town and they're excited to see me? Or what's the reason for that? So we're going to post the video so you guys can see it. It's kind of funny. And then after that one, we'll post this one too. We did a thing with the boys, and I guess there's this cookie challenge where you put 4 plates. So you got mom, dad, and the 2 twins, right? And then you put 1 cookie under 1 plate. You put another cookie under 1 plate. And you put 2 cookies under a plate. and then you put no cookie in the last plate. So my Royal, one of my boys, took his paper towel off, and he saw a cookie. We're like, oh my God, you got a cookie. And then I took my paper towel off. We're like, oh my God, Daddy's got a cookie. And then Rome took his off. Was like, Rome, you got 2 cookies. And then you do Breeze and like, oh, Mom ain't got a cookie. And then you see if the kid will give the parent their cookie. And Rome, God love him. He's my twins. Royal is the wild man. He's the wild boy. He's just ball running. He's always got bruises. Rome wants to be held. He's very cuddly. So thank God Rome had the 2 cookies, because he looked, and then he looked at his mom and he gave it to her. And we're like, I started tearing up. It's like, yo. And then we didn't think we got it because somebody called the phone that we was recording on, and we did it again. And the second one was good. But we're going to post the first one on here because the first one's so much better than the second one. You see me and her, we almost, I ain't gonna lie, I teared up a little bit because you wonder, oh, please. And he did it, picked that cookie up and gave it to his mama. And I was like, my boy right there, unselfish. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah.
Ready?
So, yeah.
Take off your napkin. Go. Oh, look, Daddy has a cookie.
It's Royal's?
Royal, your turn, Royal.
Yours. Take that.
Oh, Royal has a cookie. Here, Romy. Pull your napkin. Pull it.
Oh, we got 2 cookies.
Romy has 2 cookies. Wait, what? Mommy. Oh,
Mommy doesn't have a cookie.
Mommy doesn't have a cookie. Romy, can Mommy have a cookie?
I'm about to cry.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm about to cry.
Oh my God. Romy, are you serious? Are you serious? Is this for Mommy? Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, ready? Get your cookie. Get your cookie. Oh my goodness.
Y'all are both
cookie.
I'm about to cry. Straight up.
Okay. We can trade. Okay. Ready? Cheers. Take a bite of your cookie, Royal. Cheers. Oh, my sweet boy. Eat your cookie, Blue.
Can I have a bite?
Eat it.
That's good.
Eat it. No. Okay, Mommy, you can stop it. Someone called me, and I really hope it didn't ruin the whole video.
So, again, to recap this podcast, please, if you're listening, any parents, any kids, restraint. Don't let your ego mess your whole life up. Because that's all that was. All that was egos in the way. And to all the, if you know a bullies just, this could be the end result of bullying if that was the case. And if you feel like someone's coming at you sideways and you just want to beat their ass or do something else, listen, it's not worth it. Just walk away. Who cares? In the end, if they could all redo this over, I bet you the Metcalf kid should have just like, who cares if he's in our tent? And if you did tell him to move and he didn't move, go get somebody else. Go get an adult. And then I bet you if you asked Carmelo if he could replay it all in his head, he'd be like, I should have just left. Or if he was looking for a fight, why did you bring the knife? Bet you wish you wouldn't have brought that knife, because he's in a jail cell right now. Right now, where he could be at home in his own bed, laughing about the track meet. Or be like, man, these kids told me to move, man. I was like, I don't know why they was tripping. It was raining. I mean, it was just, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, restraint, and I'm continue to tell you, you can say whatever you want about me. I will tell my boys, walk away from any kind of fight. And my daughters, like, it ain't worth it. Just, I don't care. I don't care what they say about me, your mama, your grandma, each other. In the end, it ain't worth it, bro. You get in a fight, you get in trouble anyways, regardless in school. Just walk away, man. It ain't worth it. And you almost got to be like my boys, they're at, they go to Jamboree, I think that's what it's called, once a week. And they had a kid that was like, for less or better words, wilding. And he was really, he pushed one of my boys down, and we had to like tell the people like, yo, this kid, he's kind of exhibiting bully behavior at 2 years old, a little older than my boys. And you know, you get that phone call, you're on the road, somebody pushed your son down. You, as a dad, you go into like, at first you're like, you know, you're just like, who the hell is this 2-year-old punk? You cussing the 2-year-old out. And you're like, wait a minute, why am I mad at the 2-year-old? Then you start to realize, wait a minute, what's going on at this 2-year-old's house that they are seeing, that they're exhibiting this quote unquote bully behavior at 2 years old? What are they seeing at the house? Because that's a learned behavior. Then you start to have some empathy for the kid. And I was like, so it just made me think about restraint, I should say empathy. We got to have some empathy here, people, on both sides. You can't just jump to conclusions and say Austin Metcalf was a known bully that targeted Carmelo Anthony. And the same thing, we can't be like, Carmelo Anthony's just a thug that brought that knife looking to kill somebody. Just let's have some empathy. Let's hold on. 2 families are destroyed. That's all I saw. I put myself in both parents' shoes, and I couldn't imagine. And I'm going to beat a dead horse, but walk away, man. Show some restraint. It's all ego. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it. So, all right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. This is Gary with the Get Some Podcast.
This motherfucker Gary.